In the grand kingdom of Zambula, a powerful king named Bayo ruled with wisdom and strength. He was a great warrior, respected by his people and feared by his enemies. His kingdom was vast, filled with golden fields, rivers as clear as the sky, and villages where laughter and music filled the air. But there was one thing that made King Bayo's heart heavy. He had no son to take his place when he grew old. However, the gods had blessed him with a daughter. Her name was Nyansha. From the moment she was born, the kingdom rejoiced, for she was as beautiful as the morning sun and as fierce as a lioness. But tragedy struck early in her life. When she was just a little girl, her mother, Queen Zara, fell ill and passed away. The loss was great, and though the palace was filled with gold and riches, it became a lonely place for young Inansha. Despite her sorrow, Inansha did not grow up weak. Instead, she became brave and strong, just like her father. While other girls in the kingdom played with dolls, Inansha learned how to hold his word. She would watch the warriors train, their spear gleaming under the sun, and she loved to be as powerful as they were. The people of Zambula admired her, for she was not just a princess, she was a fighter. Among all the warriors in the palace, one stood out. His name was Zimba, the king's most trusted guard. Zimba was different from the rest. He was strong, but he was also kind. His eyes held a wisdom that made him special. He had been by King Spire's side for many years, protecting him in battles and ensuring the safety of the palace. But Zimba was not just a warrior, he was also Inansha's greatest friend. From the time she was little, Inansha followed Zimba everywhere. She watched him train, listened to his stories, and even tried to imitate his fighting moves. Zimba never treated her like a child. He saw the fire in her heart and encouraged her to be strong. The bond between them grew, and soon they were inseparable. When she was happy, she ran to Zimba. When she was sad, she found comfort in his words. King Bios noticed their closeness. At first, he only smiled, thinking it was the innocent friendship of a young girl. But as the years passed, he saw something deeper. He saw the way Inansha's eyes shone when she looked at Zemba. He saw the way Zemba protected her, not just as a guard, but as someone who truly cared for her. The king knew that their heart belongs to each other. One evening, King Bios called Inansha to his side. "My daughter," he said, "I have watched you grow into a strong and fearless woman. You love Zemba, do you not?" Inansha did not hesitate. "Yes, father, I love him with all my heart." The king nodded. He had made up his mind. "Then he shall be your husband." And so, with the blessings of the king, Inansha and Zimba's love story began. Inansha and Zimba's love grew even stronger. The entire kingdom of Zambola celebrated their union. The people were happy because Inansha, their brave princess, had found a man worthy of her heart. Zimba was no longer just a warrior, he was now a prince, the husband of the future queen. The royal wedding was the grandest the kingdom had ever seen. The palace shone with golden lanterns, and the streets were filled with music and dancing. People from neighboring villages came to witness the special day. Inansha wore a beautiful dress made of the finest silk, and Zimba stood tall in his warrior's robe. They exchanged vows under the great baobab tree, a sacred place where the spirits of their ancestors watched over them. After the wedding, Inansha and Zimba ruled side by side. They made a great scene. Inansha, wise and fearless, helped settle disputes, and made sure the people were treated fairly. Zimbas, strong and just, led the warriors and protected the kingdom from enemies. Together, they made Zambola a peaceful and happy place. But as time passed, King Bayo grew old and weak. One evening, he called Inasha and Zimba to his chambers. "My time has come," he said weakly. "I have ruled for many years, but now the kingdom must have a new ruler. Nansha, you are my holy child. You must take my place as the next ruler of Zambola." Nansha's heart felt heavy. She loved her father dearly, and she knew this day would come. But she was not ready. She knelt beside his bed, holding his hand. "Father, I cannot take the throne. My heart belongs to Zimba, and I want him to be king." King Bayo sighed deeply. "But you are the rightful heir, my daughter. The throne is yours by birthright." Nansha shook her head. "Zimba is strong. He is wise and kind. He will protect our people, just as you have. I trust him with my life, and I trust him with Zambola. Please, father, let him rule." The old king looked at Zimba, who knelt before him. "Will you protect my people? Will you rule with honor?" he asked. Zimba placed his hand on his heart. "I swear on my life, I will rule with fairness and strength. I will always honor Inansha and the people of Zambola." King Bayot nodded. "Then let it be so. Zimba shall be king, and Inansha shall be his queen. Together you will lead this kingdom." With those words, King Bayot closed his eyes for the last time. The great king has gone to join the ancestors. The kingdom mourned their beloved ruler, but soon after, Zimba was crowned king of Zambola. Nyansha stood by his side, proud and happy. The people cheered, for they believed in their new ruler. They trusted them to lead with love and wisdom. Nyansha has given up her birthright for love, and the gods who watched from the skies were not pleased. A dark shadow loomed over the kingdom, though no one could see it. After Zimba became king, life in Zambola continued with peace and joy. The people loved their new ruler. Nyansha was strong and wise, and Zimba was brave and just. Together, they made decisions that helped the kingdom grow. Crops flourished, the warriors remained strong, and the land was filled with laughter and songs. But something was missing. Years passed, and Inansha could not have a child. Inansha and Zemba tried everything. They prayed to the gods, visited the temple, and made sacrifices. They offered goats, cows, and baskets of food. But still, Inansha's belly remained empty. The elders of the kingdom said that the gods were punishing her. She gave away her birthright, they said. The gods wanted her to be queen, but she chose love instead. Now they have closed her womb. Nasha felt sad. She loved Zimba with all her heart, but she also longed to be a mother. She wanted to hold a baby in her hands, to hear the laughter of a child in the palace. She saw how Zimba looked at other families with children, and her heart ached. She knew he wanted an heir, someone to carry on his name. One night, Nyansha sat alone in the royal garden. She looked up at the skies and spoke softly. "Great gods, why do you punish me? I have done nothing but love. Is that a crime?" Zimba saw her sadness. He tried to comfort her. "My love, child or no child, you are enough for me. We have each other." Nansha smiled, but deep inside, she worried. What if Zimba changed his mind? What if one day he decided he wanted a child more than he wanted her? Days turned into months, moons turned into years, and then, one day, something happened that shook Nyasha's world. A messenger arrived at the palace, breathless and sweating. He bowed before the king and queen. "Your Majesty, I bring news from the neighboring village." "Speak," Zimba said. The messenger hesitated. It was about a woman. She claimed to have carried the child of a great king. She said the king Zimba is the father. The room fell silent. Nyansha's heart pounded. She turned to Zimba, her eyes filled with shock. "Is it true?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Zimba looked away, unable to meet her gaze. At that moment, Nyansha felt something inside her break. The man who had sworn his heart to her, the man she had given everything for, had betrayed her. Nyansha felt her whole world crumbled. She had given up everything for Zimba. She had refused the throne, had trusted him with all her heart, and now he had betrayed her. The words of the messenger echoed in her ears. The woman claimed to carry the king's child. She looked at Zimba, hoping he would deny it, hoping he would say it was a lie, but he said nothing. His silence was the loudest answer of all. Tears filled Inansha's eyes. "You swore to me. You swore that your heart belongs to me forever." Zimba lowered his head. "I did not mean to hurt you, my love, but I wanted a child and hell for the kingdom." Inansha's hand trembled. She felt betrayed, humiliated. The gods had cursed her, and now they had taken the one thing she had left, her husband's love. She turned away from him. "Leave me," she whispered. "Inansha, please, leave," she screamed, her voice filled with pain and anger. Servants and guards standing nearby shivered at the sound of it. It was the voice of a broken queen. Zimba hesitated, then he slowly walked away. Inansha collapsed onto the floor, her tears soaking into the cold stone. For days she did not eat, she did not speak. She stayed locked inside her chamber, staring at the wall, feeling as if her soul has been ripped apart. The people of Zambola whispered about their queen. Some pitied her, others feared what she might do next. One night, a dark thought entered Inansha's mind. If Zimba gave his heart to another, then I would take it back. It belongs to me forever. She sat up. Her eyes is no longer filled with sorrow, but with something else, determination. If she could not have his love, she would have his heart. The next morning, she summoned the royal cook. "Prepare a great feast," she ordered. "We will celebrate our king and his future heir." The news spread across the kingdom. People were surprised. Had the queen forgiven Zimba so quickly? They did not know that behind her smile, Nyansha was planning something terrible. She sent secret orders to her most loyal warriors. "When the time is right, you will bring the king to me," she whispered. That evening, the palace was filled with music and laughter. The grand dining hall was decorated with golden lamps and fragrant flowers. Zimba, though confused by Nyansha's sudden kindness, relaxed and drank deeply from his golden cup. Then, when the feast was at its peak, Nyansha clapped his hands twice. The doors burst open. Masked warriors entered and grabbed Zimba, forcing him to his knees. The room fell silent. Zimba struggled, looking up at his wife. Nyansha stepped forward, her eyes dark with fury. "You gave your heart to another," she whispered, "but you swore it will always be mine. Tonight, I will take it back." The people gasped. The queen had become something else, something dangerous. Zimba struggled in the grasp of the masked warriors. His eyes darted around the great hall, searching for help, but no one moved. The people of Zambola sat frozen in fear. The once lovely queen now stood before them with a look they had never seen before. Her eyes burned with anger, her hands steady as she reached for the ceremonial dagger hanging from her waist. Nyansha, stop this madness, Zimba shouted, his voice filled with shock and fear. You are my queen, you are my love. Nyansha stepped closer. Love? She hissed. You call this love? You broke your promise, Zimba. You swore your heart belongs to me, and yet you gave it to another. You made me a fool before my people. The room was silent, except for the sound of Inansha's footsteps as she moved toward her husband. Zimba's hands were tied behind his back, his knee pressed against the cold stone floor. He had been a great warrior, a mighty king, but now he was powerless. Inansha turned to the people gathered in the hall. Do you see what happened to a man who betrays his queen? He said, her voice echoing through the chambers. Do you see what happened to one who breaks a sacred oath? No one answered. The people were too afraid to speak. Zimba took a deep breath. Inansha, I beg you, let us speak in private. We can fix this. Do not let anger rule your heart. I was weak, but I still love you. I always have. Inansha's hand trembled, but she tightened her grip on the dagger. No, Zimba, you love yourself more than you loved me. You chose another over me, and now you will pay the price. The warrior forced Zimba onto the table, his chest pressed against the wounding surface. He struggled, but he was no match for them. The queen raised his dagger high above her head. This is justice, she declared. This is the price of broken promises. With one swift motion, she plunged the dagger into his chest. A gasp spread through the room. Zimba let out a deep groan, his body trembling as blood spread across the table. Nyansha's face remained cold. She reached inside his chest, pulling out the heart that had once been hers. It was still warm, still beating. She held it up for all to see. He said his heart belongs to me. Now it truly does. She looked at the heart in her hands. Then, without hesitation, she brought it to her lip and took a bite. A cry of shock echoed through the hall. The people of Zambola had never seen such an heart. Their beloved queen had been something else, something dark and fearsome. The gods watched from above, and the land fell silent. Nyansha had sealed her fate. She had eaten the heart of the man she once loved. After that terrible night, silence filled the palace. The people of Zambola were too afraid to speak of what they had seen. Their queen, once loved and adored, has become someone they no longer recognize. The air around the palace felt heavy, as if the gods themselves were angry. Nyansha sat on her throne, holding what was left of Zimba's heart. The taste of it was still on her lips, but instead of feeling powerful, she felt empty. She had taken her revenge, yet her heart ached more than before. The love she once had for Zimba had turned to ashes. As she sat in silence, a cold wind swept through the palace. The torches flickered, and the room darkened. Suddenly, an held voice whispered through the air, You have done the unthinkable, Nyansha. You have broken the sacred law of love and life. Now you will pay the price. Nyansha's eyes widened. Who speaks to me? Show yourself, she commanded. The wind howled, and before her, a shadowy figure appeared. It was the spirit of an ancient goddess, her face hidden beneath a dark veil. You were once blessed, Nyansha, but now you are cursed. You took the heart of the man who loved you, and for this you shall suffer. Inanya's hand trembled. I only did what was right. He betrayed me first, she cried. The goddess shook her head. Love is not a thing to be taken by force. You chose revenge over forgiveness, and now your soul is stained forever. From this day forward, you shall be feared, not loved. No child will ever come from your womb, and no man shall ever hold you in his hands again. You will walk this land alone, haunted by the shadow of what you have done. Inanya's heart pounded. No, you cannot do this to me. I'm the queen. You were a queen of love and light, the goddess said. But now you are a queen of darkness. This is your fate. As the spirit disappeared, Inanya let out a scream that echoed through the halls. She clenched her chest, feeling as if her own heart had been ripped from her. Her breath became heavy, and for the first time, she felt true fear. Day passed, but the curse had already begun its work. The villagers avoided her, whispering in fear. Servants walked in silence, too afraid to look her in the eyes. The once happy palace felt cold and empty, and worse, every night, Nyansha heard a voice calling her name. It was Zimba. Nyansha could not sleep. She could not eat. Fear and regret consumed her. No matter where she turned, she could feel Zimba watching her, haunting her. The gods had spoken, and now she was truly alone. And so, the queen who had once ruled with love and power had become nothing more than a lonely shadow, forever caused by her own action. One morning, Nyansha stood before the palace mirror. She gasped when she saw her reflection. Her once smooth skin was now dry and cracked. Her lips were pale, and her hair had lost its shine. The curse was changing her, turning her into something else. No, this cannot be, she cried, smashing the mirror with her hand. But as the glass shattered, Zimba's face appeared among the broken pieces. His ghostly eyes stared at her. You cannot escape, Nyansha. You took my heart, and now I will never leave you. Terrified, she ran out of her chambers, her breath heavy. She needed help. She needed to break the curse. She summoned the kingdom's wisest elder, a woman named Mama Njoro. The old woman had lived for many years and knew the ways of the gods. If anyone could help Nyansha, it was her. Mama Njoro entered the palace, her staff clinking against the stone floor. She looked at Nyansha and sighed. The gods are angry with you, my queen. You have done what no woman should ever do. You took the heart of the one who loved you. Nyansha fell to her knees. Mama Njoro, please, tell me how to fix this. I cannot live like this. The old woman shook her head. Once a heart is taken, it cannot be returned. The spirit of Zimba will haunt you forever. Unless, Nyansha's eyes widened. Unless what? Tell me. Unless you make the greatest sacrifice of all. Mama Njoro said, you must give back what you've taken. You must return Zimba's heart, not to his body, for his body is gone, but to the gods themselves. Only then will his spirit rest. Nyansha trembled. How do I do that? The river of spirits. You must go there and cast his heart into the waters. The gods will decide your fate. Nyansha nodded. She had no choice. She could not live like this any longer. Before sunrise, she wrapped Zimba's heart in a golden cloth and placed it inside a small wooden box. It was cold, lifeless, yet it still felt heavy in her hands. With a deep breath, she called for her most trusted servant, Abeni. Prepare my horse. We must leave for the river of spirit, Nyansha commanded. My queen, that river is sacred. No one dare to go there without the blessings of the gods. Are you certain? Nyansha nodded. I must do this or I will never be free. Abeni did not argue. She prepared the queen's black horse and soon Nyansha rode through the kingdom with Abeni. The journey was tiring. They rode through thick forests, crossed narrow bridges, and climbed steep hills. After hours of riding, they finally reached the river of spirits. Nyansha dismounted her horse and walked closer to the river's edge. Her heart pounded. Abeni stayed behind, too afraid to step closer. Nyansha held the wooden box in her hands. She knelt by the river and took a deep breath. Great gods, hear me. I have wronged the spirits. I have taken what was not mine to take. I return this heart to you. Please, release me from this curse. Let Zimba's soul rest in peace. She opened the box and lifted the heart. It had turned black, lifeless. With trembling hands, she dropped it into the river. The moment the heart touched the water, the river roared, the mist swirled violently, and the ground trembled behind her. A strong wind blew through the air, forcing Inansha to close her eyes. Then she heard a deep voice. Inansha, you have returned what was stolen, but your fate is sealed. Inansha's breath caught in her throat. What do you mean? I have done as you asked. I have returned his heart. You have taken a life, and the spirit did not forget. You shall live, but you will never know peace. You will walk this land as a queen, but you will always be alone. Nyansha's heart pounded. Please, I beg you, do not take everything from me. The river smiled, and for a moment she saw Zimba's face in the water. His eyes were sad. Goodbye, Inansha, his voice whispered. Then the image faded, and the river became still once more. Tears filled Inansha's eyes. She has done what was asked of her, but the gods had not given her what she had hoped for. Zimba's spirit was gone, but so was any hope of finding love and happiness again. Abeni, who had been waiting behind, rushed forward. My queen, are you free now? Is the curse broken? Nasha turned to her, unsure of the answer. The river has taken the heart and the gods have spoken, but their words still echoed in her mind. They rode back to Zambola. When she entered the palace, the servant bowed in silence. No one spoke, no one smiled. The halls felt empty, even though they were full of people. That night, as Inansha sat on her throne, she realized the truth. She was free from Zimba's ghost, but she had lost everything else. The gods had not taken her life, but they had taken her joy. She would forever be a queen, but she would never again know love, laughter, or warmth. One night, as she sat alone in her chamber, a cold gust of wind blew out the candle. The room plunged into darkness. A chill ran down her spine as she heard footsteps, slowly, steady, and coming closer. Nansha stood, her hands shaking. Show yourself. The air in the room grew thick, and suddenly, the shadow in the corner twisted and moved. From the darkness, a voice spoke. You cannot escape your past, Nansha. Her heart pounded as the shadow took shape. She gasped as she saw him, Zimba. His figure was faint, but his eyes glowed in the darkness. You thought you could rid yourself of me. His voice was filled with sorrow and anger. You took my heart, but you cannot take my soul. Nansha stumbled back. Her hand trembled. I returned your heart. I did what the gods asked. Why do you still haunt me? Zimba's ghostly form stepped closer. Because the gods will forgive. but the dead do not forget. You stole my life, and now I will never leave you. You gave my heart to the gods, but you do not give me peace. You stole my life, and now I will steal your dreams. Nyasha trembled. Please, I do not want to suffer anymore. Tell me what I must do. Zimba's ghostly form moved closer. You cannot undo what has been done. The gods has given their judgment, and I will haunt you until the end of your days. Tears filled Inyasha's eyes. No, this cannot be my fate. There must be another way. Zimba's form flickered like smoke. There is only one way to end this curse, Inyasha. You must pay the final price. Inyasha hesitated. What price? Tell me. Your own heart. You took mine. Now you must give yours. Only then will I rest. Only then will you be free. Nyansha gasped, stepping back. No, no, there must be another way. Zimba's spirit only stared at her. You chose this path. Now you must choose how it ends. Then, as quickly as he had appeared, the spirit vanished. Nyansha fell to her knee, her body shaking. She had thought giving Zimba's heart to the gods would end the curse, but now she realized the truth. She has taken a life, and now the spirits demanded hers in return. Abeni entered the room quietly. My queen, you have not eaten in days. Please take some food. Nyansha shook her head. What good is food when my fate has already been decided? Do not say that, my queen. You are still here. You are still strong. Nyansha gave a bitter smile. No, Abeni. I am only a shadow of what I once was. My people fear me. The gods have cursed me, and now Zimba's spirit will never rest until I give what I took. Abeni's eyes filled with tears. There must be another way. There is none. I have searched for answers. I have begged the gods, but they have spoken. The only way to end this is for me to return what I stole. My heart must be given to the spirit. Abeni sobbed. No, you are my queen. There must be another way. Nyansha sighed. If there was, I would take it, but the spirit has given me no choice. I will not live forever in fear. I will not let Zimba's spirit haunt this land. I must do what is right. Abeni wiped her tears. Let me be with you till the end. You will not go through this alone. Nyansha nodded, grateful for her friend's loyalty. Thank you, Abeni. You have always been by my side. That night, under the full moon, Nyansha walked to the river of spirit once more. She stood at the edge of the river, the same place where she had once thrown Zimba's heart into the water. She took a deep breath, then lifted the ceremonial dagger she had brought. With one swift motion, she placed it against her chest. Abeni screamed, No, my queen! But before Nyansha could make the final cut, a great force stopped her hand. The spirit roared, and the river began to glow. The wind grew stronger, lifting Nyansha off the ground. Then everything went dark. Nyansha felt herself falling deeper and deeper into darkness. The wind howled in her ears, and she could no longer see the river, the land, or even the sky. She was surrounded by shadows, weightless, lost between the world of the living and the world of the dead. Then suddenly everything stopped. Nyansha landed softly on what felt like warm earth. She opened her eyes and gasped. She was no longer in Zambola. She stood in a strange land, a place of golden light and endless skies. A great mist surrounded her, and before her stood the gods of old, the spirit who had watched over her people for centuries. Nyansha, queen of Zambola, you stand before us to face judgment. Do you understand why you are here? Nansha swallowed hard. Yes, I took a life. I stole a heart that was not mine to take. I have returned it, but the curse has not lifted. I have come to give my own heart in exchange. The gods studied her in silence. Then one of them stepped forward. Do you believe your sacrifice will undo your action? Nyansha lowered her gaze. No, nothing can bring Zimba back. But if giving my life will end the suffering, I will not resist. I only ask that my people be freed from this curse. Let them no longer live in fear because of my sin. The gods murmured among themselves. Then the oldest of them spoke. You have accepted your fate with courage, but the true test of redemption is not death, it is life. You have sought an easy end, but this is not what the gods desire. True punishment is not found in death, but in living with the choices you have made. You shall return to Zambola, not as a curse queen, but as a ruler with a second chance. The burden of your punishment will remain, but you will have the power to change your future. Be warned, Queen Financial. If you fail again, if you allow anger and revenge to guide your heart, the curse will return, and this time there will be no mercy. The ground beneath her trembled, the golden mist swirled around her, and she felt herself being pulled back. Nyansha woke beside the river of spirits. Abeni was kneeling beside her, tears streaming down her face. My queen, you live. Nyansha sat up, looking around in shock. The sky was clear, the wind gentle, and for the first time in years, she felt free. She returned to the palace with Abeni. Nasha tried to rule with kindness. She visited the sick, gave food to the poor. She wanted to believe that she could change, that the ghost of her past would leave her. But no matter how hard she tried, the feeling of emptiness never faded. At night, she still woke up in a cold sweat, her heart pounding, expecting to hear Zimbas whispered. The silence was almost worse. One evening, as Inasha stood on the palace balcony, looking over her kingdom, Abeni approached her. My queen, you have done so much to bring peace, yet your heart still carries sorrow. Inasha sighed. Abeni, no matter what I do, I cannot change what I have done. I cannot bring Zimba back. I cannot erase the fear in the eyes of my people. Perhaps in time, they will see your true heart. That night, as the palace slept, Nasha walked alone to the river of spirit. She stood at the edge, staring into the dark waters that had once taken Zimba's heart. The river was calm now, but her soul was not. She had been given a second chance, yet she still felt lost, as if she did not belong to this world anymore. She took a deep breath. Zimba, if you are still out there, if your soul still lingers, I ask for your forgiveness. I was blinded by hunger. I let pain rule my heart, and now I see the truth too late. A cold breeze swept through the tree, and for a brief moment, she thought she heard a whisper. It was not anger, not vengeful. It was soft, almost like a sign. Be free, Hinansha. A single tear rolled down her cheek. She closed her eyes and smiled. Thank you. Then, without another word, she stepped forward and let herself fall into the river. The water swallowed her whole. There was no struggle, no sound, only the gentle ripples of the river, as if the spirits themselves were calling her home. When morning came, the people of Zambola searched for their queen, but she was gone. Only Abeni knew where she had gone, and she wept for her queen. The story of Queen Inansha was told for generations, Some call her cursed, others call her foolish, but the wise knew the truth. She was a woman who had loved too deeply, who had been consumed by her own pain, and who had paid the ultimate price for her mistakes. Lessons from the story. This story teaches us that love, no matter how pure, must never come at the cost of one's destiny. Nature Joining is a breathtaking tale of love, sacrifice, and betrayal, one that speaks deeply to every soul that listens. She was born to rule, chosen by the gods, crowned by destiny, but in the hands of Zimba, she found a love so fierce it made her forget who she was. She chose him over her calling, and in doing so, she didn't just betray the gods, she betrayed herself. Love, though pure, becomes poison when it pulls you away from your purpose, and betrayers doesn't always come in the form of enemies. It often comes with a gentle voice, a warm smile, a beating heart that feels like home. Destiny is not a crown you can toss aside. It is sacred, it is heavy, and when you abandon it, something or someone will pay the price. Every calling denied becomes a curse that echoes through generations. Let the story be a warning, whisper deep into your soul. Never let love make you forget who you were born to be. Never let passion drown your purpose. And never forget, when the gods shows you, they will not beg for your loyalty. But if you walk away, they will come for it, one way or another. Thank you so much for watching. If you're enjoying this story, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also click the notification bell so you never miss any of our upcoming stories. Feel free to leave a comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Your support means everything to me. Until next time, stay safe, stay blessed, and keep enjoying great stories from me to you. I love you all. God bless you.